A box is defined as a container with a flat base and sides. It's typically square and it has a lid, and it often contains something. Since the day we are born, we are trapped in our own box. For some time, we use it as an emotional shelter, but once we reach the age of 18, we find that our box is confining. In our beginning years of college, we begin to strive not to stay in our box, but to think outside of the box, to escape our box. When we escape our confinement, we unlock our true potential and creativity, and we have the ability to change the world. But how do we escape our box? Most people argue that we need to break out of our box, but they're misguided. Our box is made up of 3 boundaries: apathy, fear, and ignorance. Thus, we can express the volume of our box as apathy times fear times ignorance. And the beauty of these 3 barriers is that they're minimizable. But how do we minimize them? Well, let's take a look at what these barriers aren't. Apathy is the opposite of passion. Thus, we can express apathy as the inverse of passion. Fear is the opposite of courage, so we can express it as the inverse of courage. Ignorance is the opposite of knowledge, so we can express it as the inverse of knowledge. So, we can create a new volume of the box equation using substitution. Our new volume of the box is the inverse of passion times the inverse of courage times the inverse of knowledge. The beauty of these 3 denominators is that they are maximizable. The way we can escape our box isn't by breaking out of it, but by making its volume or size smaller and smaller until it becomes virtually non-existent. By minimizing our apathy, fear, and ignorance, we can make the box disappear. But how do we do that? Let's take a look at what passion, courage, and knowledge truly are. Passion is defined as having a purpose and knowing what you want to put your life efforts into. But before you have a purpose, you must search for it and find it. The only way you can successfully search for a purpose is by putting in the hard work to do so. Thus, we can mathematically say that passion is finding a purpose times the hard work you put in. Courage is facing your fears and overcoming them. To face your fears, you must do new things that you're afraid of, and the only way you can successfully do new things you're afraid of is by putting in the hard work to do so. Thus, we can mathematically say that courage is doing things you're afraid of times the hard work you put in. Lastly, knowledge is gaining awareness and learning new things. The only way you can gain awareness is to be curious. Ask questions, uncover answers, and ask more questions. And the only way you can be curious is by putting in the hard work to ask questions and uncover answers. Thus, we can mathematically say that knowledge is being curious times hard work. So, using substitution again and simplifying, we can express a new volume of the box equation once again. By adding hard work to the equation, finding a purpose, doing things you're afraid of, and being curious will be maximized. In other words, the more hard work you put into your life, the more you will find your purpose and thus develop passion. The more things you will do that you're afraid of and thus develop courage. And the more curious you will be and thus develop knowledge. So, by maximizing these 4 denominators, the volume of our box will be minimized until it's gone. As the volume of our box approaches 0, it will become smaller and smaller until it is virtually non-existent. and we will be able to escape it, unlock our true potential, and change the world. In our society, we believe that hard work is something you must avoid, but in reality, it is the only way you can truly escape your confinement and tap into your true potential. This equation shows that the keys to allowing yourself to change the world are passion, courage, and knowledge. There are 3 variables you can maximize by finding a purpose, doing things you're afraid of, being curious, and most importantly, working hard. And people say we won't use math in our lives past high school.